Hi everyone. Are you ready to go off on an adventure today? We're going to start again with the idea that we always preview our book before we read it. Get ready and take a sneak peek. Why do we do that? Because as readers, we want to know who our characters are. We want to have some idea of what's happening in the story to see if we're going to enjoy it, and we need to keep track of where and when things are happening in our story. That's our lesson for today, keeping track of where and when. Today, we're going to be taking a look at our characters with our sneak peek and get ready for an adventure. Our book today is Henry and the Buccaneer Bunnies by Carolyn Crimi. As we look at the cover, we see a pirate ship, or at least it looks to me like a pirate ship, and we see a group that looks like pirates. Let's take a look at the back cover. On the back cover, that looks like a pirate flag, but with long floppy bunny ears. Let's take a look at our title page. It's the same in this book in the front and the back. Here we notice that we have a ship and we have a sea and some interesting things on the sea. As we go further into our book, let's see if we meet any characters. Wow. He looks pretty angry. And he looks pretty relaxed. I wonder what could be happening. Looks like our character, Henry, is going to have a problem with someone. Wow, Henry looks very upset. I wonder what's going on. Looks like something big has happened to our characters. So, with that sneak peek, have your suitcase ready, and we're going to go off on our adventure. I brought a friend today to listen. You all have reading partners at school, and you need somebody to talk to after you've read your story. So I brought a friend along today to listen and then to talk with afterwards. Henry and the Buccaneer Bunnies by Carolyn Crimi. Cruising the seven seas on the crickety old ship called the Salty Carrot sailed a wild, rowdy band of buccaneer bunnies. They were bad, bad bunnies, all right. When pirates on the other ships saw their long, floppy ears and their fluffy white tails, they shook with fear. The captain of the Salty Carrot was Barnacle Blackear, the baddest bunny of all time. Blackear was proud of his wooden paw, his golden earrings, and his mean reputation. What Blackear was not proud of was his son, Henry. Instead of performing his proper pirating duties, Henry was more interested in reading the books the buccaneers stole from other ships. "Shout, shiver me timbers!" Blackear ordered. "I'd rather finish this chapter," said Henry. "Make this prisoner walk the plank." "Can't I just read about it?" asked Henry. "Find yourself a parrot for your shoulder." "First, I need to read up on parrot care," said Henry. "Buccaneer bunnies don't need books," said Blackear. "Toss them overboard," he yelled to the other bunnies. "No, wait," Henry cried. "Just let me finish them first." "Avast!" cried Blackear. "Swab the decks until you come to your senses." And so Henry swabbed the decks day after day while reading some of his favorite books like Robinson Crusoe and 30 Days to Longer Ears. "Bet you can't learn how to do this from books," Jean the Hare said while sharpening his hook. Henry sighed and turned the page. "You'll never find booty like this in a book," Calico Jack Rabbit told him, holding his stolen loot. Henry shrugged and turned the page. "Can't do this with a book in your paw," Bartholomew Bunny said while sanding his peg leg. Henry just turned another page. As much as he loved his books, Henry was a lonely Buccaneer Bunny if there ever was one. Then one morning, he looked up at the red sky and wriggled his little pink nose. He heard the parrot squawk and saw a fish jumping out of the water. If my books on meteorology are correct, those signs mean big storm is heading this way, he thought. Henry tried telling Jean Lahair about the upcoming storm. "Excuse me, but I believe a storm is coming," Henry said. But Jean was too busy polishing his pieces of 8. "Go back to your books, Henry." He tried telling Calico Jack. "I'm pretty sure a storm is on its way," Henry said. But Calico Jack was too busy admiring the tattoo of a cabbage. "Don't you bother me now, Henry." Finally, Henry cried, "Batten down the hatches! A huge storm is coming!" "What do you know about storms?" Black-Ear demanded. "Get back to your swabbing the decks before I make shark bait out of those books of yours." Henry did as he was told, but he kept his little pink eyes on the skies. When he saw the rats abandoning the ship, he started packing up his book in empty treasure chests. The storm started small. A few low grumbles of thunder, a spike of lightning, then suddenly a crashing, bashing, thrashing wildcat of a hurricane broke loose. It shook the ship. "Sufferin' sea dogs!" It mangled the mast. "Great blimey bilges!" It slashed the sails, damaged the deck, and ripped up the rickety old salty carrot. All that was left floating on the choppy waters were a bunch of soggy bunnies and Henry's treasure chests filled with books. When the storm finally calmed down, Black-Ear, Henry, and the rest of the Buccaneers paddled to the nearest island. "We're ruined!" wailed Black-Ear. "No ship, no pieces of 8, no gems!" He sat in the sand and blubbered like a lily-livered landlubber. But Henry got to work. The first thing he did was build a 2-story hut out of palm fronds and coconuts. "How did you learn to do that?" asked Black-Ear. "I read it in 101 Things to Do with Palm Fronds and Coconuts," replied Henry. Next, he built a fire and cooked up a tasty seaweed stew. "Blimey," said the hungry bunnies. "Where did you learn that?" "I found the recipe in Quick and Easy Meals for Marooned Pirates," said Henry. Then he made them all fetching garments from bits and pieces he had salvaged from the shipwreck. "We look like gentlemen bunnies, we do. What swank swashbucklers we are. And it's all from them land-lubbin' books," said Black-Ear, shaking his head. Henry taught Black-Ear and the Buccaneer bunnies all kinds of useful things, like how to plant carrots, make the best sand castles, and build boats out of palm fronds. Soon they built a new ship, which they sailed to the library at the nearby Easter Islands every summer. Here the bunnies spent many happy hours slurping seaweed stew and reading books. "Aye, Buccaneer bunnies will always need books," said Black-Ear. Henry just smiled and turned the page. That finishes our story. So as we took a look at what we were noticing in the beginning, was we found out the characters were Henry and a group of bunny pirates. Henry liked to read, and he always had books. and they were off on their adventure at sea. So, readers keep track of where and when. So, also, readers keep up with the story. They keep that in mind as to what's going on. And as you had a partner, you often retold your story to your partner. If you remember, readers need to retell what happened, often with a partner. Maybe you have a furry partner like this, or maybe you have a live partner like your dog or your cat who will listen, or you might be really lucky to have a brother or a sister or an adult to listen. But we're going to talk about retelling the story, and we're going to use our hand to do that. We have a simple chart and a simple idea. First thing we're going to take a look at, who are the characters in our story? Where was the setting? That's the where and when. What happened that was important first? What happened important then? And what happened? I brought a little friend today as my reading partner, somebody I can retell my story to. And I'm going to share with you a strategy you can use to retell a story. It's called the 5-finger method. You just hold up your hand and retell the story. Who are the characters? Well, in this story, our characters were Henry and the pirate gang on the Salty Carrot. Where was our story happening? Our story happened in a couple of different places. We were on the sea for a lot of the story. Then we also spent some time on the land after the ship had wrecked. What happened? Well, in the beginning, we met Henry. Henry loved books, but everybody on the ship thought that was a very silly thing to do. Then the ship got into a shipwreck, and everybody was thrown on land with only the books left. Finally, Henry showed them that what he had learned in the books was a very valuable thing, and he was able to save the entire crew and have them live happily ever after. As you read, please make sure that you take a look at your story and reread what you can and retell to a friend. Till next time, goodbye.